Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7 of the official South Florida Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Molina, president of mortgage sales with One Stop Mortgage. We are known for having the lowest rates in America, the best customer service, an average clear to close of 6 days. By the way, we have everything from debt service coverage ratio, jumbo loans with no maximum loan amount, and then your bread and butter, conventional, FHA, VA, bank statement, you name it. Without further ado, I would like to welcome not only a great friend of mine, but one of the greatest young professionals and professionals in general in Palm Beach County and really all of South Florida. All right, Steve Snowden with Wall Private Wealth. He's an investment advisor, all right, and he is cutting edge. Today, we are going to talk about the top reasons why young professionals fail, all right? And really, you could summarize that in keys to maximizing your success as a young professional, all right? But not only that, we're also going to talk about tax advice for realtors and high income earners, all right? So without further ado, Steve Snowden, welcome to the show.
I'll tell you what, man, it's a pleasure to be here. Chris, I'll tell you what, out of all the young professionals I know in the area, I know a lot of them, you got to be one of the most passionate guys I've met about what they do. And I love that, man. I'm excited to be here.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are.
So I'll tell you what, man, it's been a journey. So born and raised in Pennsylvania. Whenever I was 18, had no idea what I wanted to do. My dad went to jail whenever I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Very long sentence. My mom was disabled at the time. Had no idea where I was going. And then I ended up going to Penn State Altoona, a campus right in my backyard. If you are from the Northeast, you'll recognize the name Sheetz gas station. So one of the founders of Sheetz grew the company from 0 to 750 stores, whatever they're at now, $1 billion company. He started an entrepreneurship program at Penn State Altoona.
Wow.
And I was just so happened to be referred to the program, joined the program.
Wow.
And I mean, Mr. Sheetz changed my life. I ended up meeting my wife. Her father-in-law, very successful business owner, poured into me. And it just started rolling downhill. And, that's where I got the referral to where I'm at today, Wall Private Wealth. Michael Wall, he's the CEO of our firm. And man, it's just been an incredible ride, brother.
That's amazing. Now, your clients are exclusively all heavy hitters. All right. Mm-hmm. These are extremely wealthy individuals. So you have such a unique perspective that I can't wait for you to share. But I didn't go through the same thing you went through, but I was raised without a father, but at a younger age, pretty much the age of 10, for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And I think that actually gave us an edge because we saw what our moms had to go through and we saw what it's like to not have wealth. Mm-hmm. And we were committed to throwing down and making sure that when we're fathers someday, that would not be the case. That would never happen.
100% agree with you, man. 100%. I'm excited for what we're building. I'm excited for where we're going, and I couldn't be happier.
Awesome, brother. Now tell me a little bit about Wall Private Wealth, all right, and what you do as an investment advisor.
So I'm a key piece to 2 different financial companies in that. So there's Wall Private Wealth, which is tax planning, insurance planning, and legacy planning. And then U.S. Private Wealth, which is our registered investment advisory. So in the simplest way, there's 2 things that I really do. So the first thing is coming beside high income earners, people making $500,000, $700,000, $1 million plus, coming beside them, giving them strategy to significantly reduce taxes on their wealth. Wow. Michael Wall, our CEO, he's coached hundreds of CPAs. We're coaching some CPAs next month, hundreds at a conference, really coming beside them and giving them strategy they're not even using, and bringing down income very big. Last year, we saved clients about $25 million in taxes, so it was incredible. And then on the other side of what we do, if you're not familiar out there, what a multifamily office is, for us, it's really coming beside a family, bringing the right CPA into the picture, bringing the right estate planning into the picture, using our one-of-a-kind process, the efficient portfolio, bringing together markets, private equity, vetted real estate, private stuff, smaller stuff that's quicker, more profitable for families, really bringing that all together and being that one-stop shop for families and coming beside them as their CFO, whether they're selling a company, walking into retirement, building a company, and letting them focus on what they want to do and what they're best at doing, and we'll take care of the rest.
That's amazing. Now, just to give the listeners an idea of the order of magnitude of the individuals that you work with, you were recently golfing with Donald Trump and at Mar-a-Lago. Can you unpack that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been an incredible ride. We've connected with so many great people, especially in that space, conservative wise, political wise. I mean, it's a great window to be in, and to be in a person at a young age that's in that range of people and working with them, communicating with them, just being around them. It's helped me grow so much faster, but I can't take credit for that. I have an amazing mentor, the CEO of our firm, Michael Wall. He has been moving. He's building a great ship. He's been doing this for 20 plus years, started in Pennsylvania, the same hometown as me, and really just seeing his leadership, the courage. We're doing Bible studies on Monday mornings during the week. I mean, just incredible purpose in what he's doing. We have a nonprofit, Go Live with Purpose. And at the end of the day, yes, we love doing wealth management. Yes, we love reducing taxes, but we really like to lift people up and give them purpose. And that's really helped us take off.
I love that. Now I have a little bit of a curveball for you. How important is faith to you?
I mean, what else is there if faith isn't important to me?
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't be here without, Jesus Christ, God, my faith with him, the faith that my wife has. And to be honest with you, going a little bit back, I was growing up in a church household, but nobody was truly giving those values, living in those values. And it kind of brought me out of that. But whenever I started going to church with my wife and her family, she was my girlfriend at the time. And, I was communicating with people, praying with people, getting just a completely different experience. That's really when things took off for me. And whenever I started to truly trust the process, trust that God was going to provide for me, trust that he was bringing the right people into my life, then everything really started to go in the right direction. So it's been amazing.
That's amazing. I mean, my faith grew so much while I was dating Victoria, and now she's my fiance. And I would be so far off from the man that I am today if it wasn't for her. So having the right partner in life and in faith, I think is so important.
Zig Ziglar says it best. Behind every successful man is a powerful woman. I'm thankful that we both found that.
That is so awesome, brother. I absolutely love that. So let's get right into it. What are some of the top reasons that you've noticed why young professionals fail?
So I was actually just recently having lunch with our CEO, Michael. And a few years back on his show, the Michael Wall Show, he was interviewing Vince Gill at his house in Nashville in the guitar room. And Michael was like, Vince, why do people struggle? Why don't people reach this level of success? And he said, people don't know how to get out of their own way. A lot of the time when young professionals come out of school, they start working, they start moving, they start to achieve a little bit of success. They disregard the reason why they've had that success. They disregard the brand that they're under, the people that they have, the mentors that they have. Zig Ziglar says it best. If you see a turtle up on a fence post, you can rest assured that sucker didn't get there by himself. And if people really live in that, they grow so much faster.
That is powerful. That is absolutely powerful. Now, what kind of mistakes did you make as a young professional?
I've made a lot of them.
Same.
A lot of them. Work really hard, but you can work really hard and achieve not so much. And that's what I've learned, especially in the first couple of months of what I was doing. And I really had a lack of focus too. I was jumping from this to this, to this, to this. I'm like, I should do this marketing idea. I should come here. I should, research the markets a little bit. No, focus on what I'm best at and what I'm doing. And that's going out, meeting people, communicating, servicing clients, servicing the families that we have, going out there, going to events, meeting new people. I mean, that's my God-given gift. And I really didn't see that. I really didn't focus in on that. So at the end of the day, in the beginning, I had a real lack of focus. And I also, as soon as I achieved a little bit of success, there was that ego train that hit me a little bit. I'm like, oh, look at me. And a lot of young professionals experience that, especially in the day and era of social media, where you see this guy has $1 million affiliate market business, and this guy has $1 million drop shipping business, and this guy has $1 million YouTube automation business.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff isn't probably true. And a lot of people get a lack of focus and they don't believe in what they're doing because they're seeing what everyone's saying that they're doing. So being able to key in, focused, build, get better at sales, get better at being a stay-at-home mom, get better at being a teacher. Earl Nightingale says, as long as you are progressively realizing a worthy idea, that's what success is. Absolutely. It's not about money. It's not about, all that you have achieved. It's progressively realizing a worthy idea.
Yeah. Put your ego aside, fail fast, and honestly spend the first few years just learning from the best.
Exactly. Whenever you got years and years of training ahead of you, especially me, our CEO, Michael. He's been doing it for a long time. Did 6 years on national media, Squawk Box, Fox Business, CNN Money. I mean, he's been doing way more things than me. He helped grow a company from 300 million to 1.3 billion in assets, grew a company in Pennsylvania. For me to say, oh, I got this figured out would be stupid.
Absolutely.
I have such a great mentor and a guidance that, if I pass by that, I'm not going to grow as fast as I could. If I really, truly take his advice, I will short my growth path by 10 years. I mean, it'll be unbelievable. But really, as a young professional, slow down, listen to your mentors, put the right mentors in your life. That's important.
Put the right mentors in your life.
Surround yourself with the right people. And I promise you're going to grow so much faster.
It's so powerful. I remember when I was homeless studying for my NMLS license, I looked up on YouTube how to grow the world's largest mortgage bank, because that was literally that was my goal. And I came across these. There was actually no video, spoiler alert, about how to grow the world's largest mortgage bank, but I found videos by a guy named Todd Screama, who is the owner of Summit Funding. They're out of Sacramento. And this was a guy that got into the mortgage business when he was 23 years old, and then grew like the number 16 largest mortgage bank in America. And this guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I was like, well, you know what? If he got into the business when he was 23, I'm 18. I can do that. And his videos were so inspiring and so tactical. And then when I got into the mortgage business, I realized that he also owns the number one mortgage coaching program called The Core, him and Rick Ruby. And the person that I was working for in the mortgage business at that time, they were coached in The Core. And I wasn't even part of that organization at that time. I was just some homeless kid getting my NMLS license and came across the best training just because I sought it out in the beginning. So I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, it's important for people to take that first step, because you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be able to get towards that long vision that you have and stay committed to that long-term vision.
Absolutely. And I also think that having really big goals helps you drive harder and faster, because ageism is a real thing. People discriminate based on age when you are a young professional. I even did that. I was like, well, you know what? I have a baby face. Like, would I trust somebody that, and I shaved my head. I looked like a Russian hitman. Would I trust somebody that, with the largest transaction of my life, who, is as old as I was at that time? The answer was no. And I was like, well, you know what? Realistically, I'm still going to do this. I'm going to get in the game. I'm going to get a lot of experience that other kids my age are not getting. And I'm going to go through the mud. And on the other side, I'll be so much farther along than all the other kids that had the same fear and insecurity and backed away.
Nope, 100%. And I had got really good advice. This is actually a couple weeks ago. And he said, Steve, you're 23. I said, yes, I'm 23. He's like, are some people out there not going to trust you? I'm like, sure. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you have the opportunity at a young age to start bringing value to families, to high income earners, whoever that you work with at such a younger age. And think about just the long period of time that you're going to have to bring such great value to the clients that want to work with you.
100%. In my case, it takes about 2 years if you really, really pour your heart and soul into it to become a guideline master. Okay. I've been doing this almost 7 years. I am a guideline ninja. Anyone can ask me any question. Doesn't matter how complex it is. I'll know the answer. Okay. But in the first 2 years, those were the only 2 years where my clients ever asked me how old I was. And very few clients did, but ever since then, it's never happened. And I believe it never happened again, because once you become a master, your clients know and they don't care. They just don't care how old you are.
Yeah, no. And if you represent that, if you live that, if you're proud of that, like I'm out here moving at a young age, and it's going to allow me to be so much more successful. It's going to allow me to be so much more confident whenever I hit 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. It just makes me very excited for where I'm going.
Exactly.
It fires me up. If, at the end of the day, if someone chooses not to work with you because you're young, I don't think they're looking at it in the right picture, because, if you're providing the value that they need, then, I think that, you need to focus on working with the right people.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's not a client that you'd probably want to have in the long term.
Exactly. And you have to understand that, when you do experience ageism, you just simply have to overcompensate with things that your competitors are not going to do, with more availability, with providing more value, with understanding the market better than your competitors do, with just really taking everything +1 or +2 or +3, and not being satisfied being good, right? You have to be great, because the enemy of great is good. Okay. So I think people have to take that seriously. What are some other mistakes that young professionals make?
I think a big one is, I know I talked about this a little bit, but I think lack of focus is something that people truly struggle with. Whether it's a young professional who's, doing a lot of great things, they're providing a lot of value, they're doing really well in the company that they're working for, or the company that they're running. But we live in a world where there are so many distractions, whether it be comparing yourselves to other people, scrolling on social media, looking at somebody else's success, family in your life, people giving you the wrong advice. There's so many different ways where, the wrong information could be coming towards you. And I think one of the best things that happened to me particularly was actually moving to Palm Beach, because I removed all the voices in my life.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we get married. Next day, we're flying to Punta Cana, had our honeymoon, and then we're in Palm Beach and I'm starting my job.
Wow.
$0 an hour, all commission. Yes. Everyone told me I was crazy.
Yep.
My wife was, doing her thing, supporting our family. And thank God for that, because I was able to take a lot of risk. And I didn't have anybody telling me what to do, what I should do. I had to figure it out myself.
Wow.
And that allowed me to honestly put some hair in my chest.
Exactly.
Like I can figure out anything. I'm going to figure it out. And it was that there's no failure in the situation, because if I fail, that's actually success, because I learned what does work and what doesn't work. And it allowed me to grow so much faster.
Yeah, you and me both, man. I was commission only since my first day in the business. And you grow up fast. All right. And I think that people need to fail fast when they get into business. Yep. And commit to never making the same mistake twice.
Whenever you walk in there for your 14th week and you still haven't made $1, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. For anybody else out there that knows what I'm talking about, for the first 6 months, in a mortgage, you got to get somebody pre-approved. They don't go under contract right away. It might take them a few months to buy a home, right? Or to close, right? And I remember, my first few paychecks just went to literally just enough to pay the bills. Sometimes not even. The first year was really rough. And there was a hurricane. I forget which one. I think it was like Maria or something like that. And for like 3 days when the hurricane hit, I had like 1 bottle of water and like 8 spoiled rice.
That's incredible.
And it was raw rice.
Wow. That's incredible.
But it's so beautiful. Like, because when I think about that, it just fires me up. And seeing, where we are today, but still not being satisfied. Like she'll always ask me after, like I'll break a lead record. Like, for example, if I get like over like 9 referrals in a day, I think that's like my record right now. She'll be like, hey, like, did you had a great day? Like, how you feeling? I'm like, not satisfied. Okay. Cause we're still young. We still have a lot to prove.
Nope. 100%. And, a lot of people, I feel like in the young professional space, especially lack of focus. And this could be, you absolutely killing it in your field and you being the best salesperson for your company, the best person going out there and finding business, and you starting to make a lot of money. And you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to start investing in some other ventures. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to invest in some real estate. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to invest in this venture capital. I'm going to go here. I'm going to partner in this. And what is that doing? That's taking your attention away from the thing that you are best at.
Yes.
And that's the important thing for a lot of the families that we serve, is coming beside them as the CFO, because, whenever you start to, have $3, $4, $5, $10 million, you're like, oh my gosh, what should I be investing this in? Yeah. And they start to go buy this or this big commercial real estate, and start hiring people to get a tax deduction. It's like, no, this is such a waste of time. You are the best at what you're doing. If you're a developer, you are the best at going out there and finding great real estate to develop and hiring people in that space. The last thing you need to be doing is doing something completely alternative to chase a tax deduction.
Yes.
You need to be in a place where you focus on what you're doing and allow us to focus on what we're best at. If you start surrounding yourself with the people who are the best at what they're doing, that you're going to excel so much faster.
So true. That's so true. And I think that time management also has to do with focus. And I see so many young professionals and young entrepreneurs I think this is a really big reason why they fail is they will spend the majority of their time on social media and not simultaneously be a master on the phones and of all communication methods.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to meet your clients where they are, and especially people with wealth. Not all of them have an Instagram, right? Like
exactly.
It's a big referral base. You have to become a master of generating referrals and then become a master of communication, not just scrolling on Instagram and posting on Instagram.
Exactly. And sending messages, sending text messages. I mean, really for you young professionals out there, yes, there's a lot of things that you can do social media wise. It's powerful to warm people up. But at the end of the day, to really make sure that you're, maximizing your potential, getting good on the phones, getting good with your language, making sure that you can position things well, that's going to make you grow so much faster, especially as a young professional, if you can position things correctly. I mean, whenever I was at Northwestern Mutual for an internship in college, I probably spent thousands of hours making cold calls. I mean, in one summer I made 10,000 cold calls. Did I make that much money? No. Did I suck at it? Yes. Was my positioning good? No. But I wouldn't take that back for the world.
You got the reps in.
Exactly.
Those reps make every call so much easier now. So much easier.
Exactly.
That's so powerful. And I recommend every young professional to read the 10X rule, because it's not just about just doing one thing, for example, like just posting on social media. It's about 10X social media, 10X your calls, 10X your emails, 10X your knowledge in the industry, 10X the education that you can share with other people. All right. It's not about one pillar. You have to have at least 5 pillars in business.
Mm-hmm. Nope. 100%. 100%. And I saw something really good a few weeks ago, and it was just talking about the idea of, if you're really good at sales, regardless of what product you're selling and how much money that you're making, whether it be 500,000, 100,000, $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, a salesperson can only do so much. But the people that are really exponentially growing so fast and making just an unbelievable amount of money are the people that are able to market. Marketing is the key piece, and that's really having different pillars.
Let's talk about marketing. Let's dive into that. What does marketing look like in your world?
So marketing, what that looks like in our world, that's a great question. So one of the two, actually we have 2 podcasts at our office. We have the Invest Well Show, and then we have the Michael Wall Show, both run by our CEO. And I'll tell you what, he is a machine.
Shout out to the Michael Wall Show.
Shout out to the Michael Wall Show. He is a machine. He's always producing content. And from an Invest Well Show perspective, we're always bringing on guests, whether it's talking about investing into the business, if something happens in the marketplace, we're shooting some video and getting that information and sent out there ASAP next day, so that our clients feel the comfort and their friends feel the comfort. And anybody that's listening to the show feels the comfort of actually getting advice from people that know what they're doing and are very proactive about it. We're not creating propaganda or, we're going out there and, just creating a hook. It's really going out there and providing good, real advice through that show. And then the Michael Wall Show, just showing who we are, what we support, the nonprofits. If, you look at JP Morgan, these big firms, where is all their money going? It's going to all the bull crap that you see in the media, all the advisory fees, all the money that we're making. We proudly support the nonprofits that we support. And we're talking about that. We're bringing the guests on the show, and we're really just trying to build a community and be a landmark in the financial space, because we're different.
That's so powerful. And how powerful is being different?
I mean, it's not easy. I'll tell you what, it is not easy being different. But that's really why for our clients, we key in on education, stewardship, being ethical, having good integrity. And, if you build something on those 4 founding principles and you're good at marketing, you can really build something special, and having really good leadership.
Man, it seems like you guys are just so authentic, and it's so interesting how many people that we know that really crush it in real estate, and, people that I won't mention that are clients of yours. But I think that's an amazing segue for, let's talk about tax advice for realtors, particularly high income earners.
Yeah. And for a lot of you realtors out there that may be listening to this, I'm sure you guys are in a place where, you have some really big years, you have some years where it's, a little less consistent based off what the market is doing. So it's important that whenever you do have that really, really big year, or you're just growing exponentially, that you are keeping more of what you earn. Sales isn't easy. Having a commission job isn't easy. Marketing yourself isn't easy. dealing with clients and going out there and pushing and showing properties, that isn't easy. And if you can keep more of what you're earning, more of those commissions so that you can invest back into your practice, you invest more into your business, you can invest more into your social media, you can invest more into your family. There are strategies out there for you to do that. There are strategies available that your CPA may not be giving you. If your CPA is saying, hey, you can put some money in a SEP, you can put some money here, but really that's all you can do. That's not true. There are strategies that we can bring that can significantly reduce income. Like I mentioned earlier, we saved clients millions and millions and millions of dollars in taxes last year.
Yeah.
And that was reducing income anywhere up to 50%. So it's a really amazing thing. And for you guys out there, if you guys are not receiving if you guys aren't receiving advice that is satisfactory to you and you feel like you're paying too much to the government, feel free to reach out to me. leanonthewall.com. That's our website, leanonthewall.com. Those are the hats that we wear for Wall Private Wealth and U.S. Private Wealth. And I'd be happy to talk to you about, what we can do tax-wise to help you get to the level where you're investing in a lot of investments that are truly different as well.
Leanonthewall.com. Now, what kind of advice can realtors give to their big real estate investors?
I think a lot of people miss out on a few things. So one of the things that I feel like a lot of realtors haven't been familiar with is qualified opportunity zones in just the simplicity and the ability.
Qualified opportunity zones. Yep. Can you unpack that?
Yeah. So qualified opportunity zones. So this is a real estate property that's, Donald Trump signed this in office. I believe it was in 2017 to help investors and people selling the properties defer their capital gains. So these are properties in, sometimes they're in distressed communities, areas where things are regrowing, but there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a good and bad to everything. There's good and bad tax strategies. There's good and bad investments, good and bad real estate. You guys know this.
Yeah.
But with qualified opportunity zones, it gives your clients, if they're looking to sell a $10 million property and they're going to have a $6 million capital gain, to choose how much they can defer, choose a tax burden that they want, be able to move their money into something that they don't have to pay taxes on for a few years and get a return to help pay those taxes. So if you're a realtor out there and you're like, man, I have a few people that are on my list that I think would be just a great candidate for deferring the capital gains, so they take that step to actually sell the property, I would be happy to explain the qualified opportunity zones offerings and help you get your client to the spot where they're actually willing to sell that property because they're comfortable with the tax burden.
Everybody, you got to rewind that and listen to that again. That is huge, huge advice. I mean, some people pay a lot of money for that kind of advice, brother. I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, whether you're selling a company, whether you're selling a big building, a commercial building, a residential home, there are strategies out there. And that's one of many that we have to help reduce capital gains. I know for realtors, that's a big one. Obviously, we got the stuff on the income side, but I know for all those realtors out there, it is important that your clients know what options are out there to reduce the capital gains to help you make more money.
I love that. Yeah, realtors, I mean, reach out to Steve, because you need to be an advisor for your clients. Okay. And you need to have people like Steve in your back pocket. And you also need to be able to give enough advice for them to believe that you know what you're doing. And, just like the realtors that are out there that maybe used to be inspectors or used to be appraisers or used to be developers, I always like when a realtor has a competitive edge. And even if you don't have any of those necessary competitive edge, your knowledge on the industry and your ability to connect people to the right people, that in itself is a competitive edge.
Exactly. And that's the whole goal of surrounding yourself with other great young professionals. If you surround yourself with other young professionals that you trust, that you can build a good long-term future with, I mean, you can know 30,000 people, but I guarantee you 5 or 6 of those people are truly the people that are going to help you grow and take yourself to that next level.
Man, I have an amazing question that I know all the realtors out there really want to know. Okay. How do you build your business around the super wealthy?
That is a great question. And I'll tell you what, man, our founder, Michael Wall, has done a great job. He's worked with a lot of different people. He's had a lot of great experiences. He's been able to take a small business in Pennsylvania and really blow it up to the great and the wealthy clients that we have today. And really at the end of the day, man, and I think all you realtors out there will appreciate this, or whoever else is listening, surround yourself with people that you actually want to work with.
Yeah.
Put the right people in your life. I could care less how much money someone has whenever I'm talking to them or I'm around them. If you're a good, genuine person, I genuinely want to help you. And there are good people out there that will genuinely want to help you. And if you keep doing that, you'll get to where you want. Zig Ziglar says this, and it's so important. In order to get what you want, you have to help enough other people get what they want. Yes. And if you live by that, you are going to get to the places you want to go. I know we talked about thinking big earlier. Donald Trump says this: if you're going to think, you may as well think big.
You may as well think big. That is so true and so simple. But on a day-to-day basis, when you're inundated with problems and fires that you have to put out and stress and just all the worries in life, it's really easy, and bills, especially in the beginning, it's really easy to forget to think big, especially because in the beginning, a lot of young professionals, I think a big mistake they make is they surround themselves with losers, and they're too slow to cut out the losers in their life. And what do I mean by loser? Oh, Chris, you're mean. You're this. No, listen, business is brutal. Mm-hmm. All right. A lot of businesses fail, especially in the beginning. And the people around you are either giving you more energy in life or sucking the energy out of you.
Exactly. You're either taking a deposit or you're giving a withdrawal. No other way.
100%. All right. So let's talk about being proactive instead of reactive.
I love it. Yeah, whenever it comes to being proactive versus reactive, I feel like a lot of young professionals in our society are waiting for that next idea. They're waiting for that next application. They're waiting for the next big thing to start talking about. And there's a small percentage of successful people, especially in the younger 20, 25, 30, that are going and proactively chasing what they want. Proactively going out there and building and meeting new people and creating new relationships, growing their circle. This is where it starts. And then everything else just comes along with that. But whenever you're reactive and you're just taking from your friends and you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people and they're bringing you down, and then people are playing the poor little old me game. Zig Ziglar calls it the plum disease.
Yeah.
Get that out of your head, the stinking thinking, and get yourself in a place where you're going out there and pushing the needle just a little bit every single day.
Yes.
What is something that I can achieve tomorrow that's going to push my life a little bit further? Listen to this. If I asked you this, is there something you can do in the next 2 weeks that will ruin your life? Raise your hand. Everybody's hand's going up.
Yeah.
If there's something in the next 2 weeks that would dramatically change your life in a positive way, raise your hand. Everyone's hand's going to go up.
Wow.
So are you going to do that or no?
Wow. That is a great question to ask yourself. An amazing question to ask yourself. And I think, in my business, it was whale hunting. Until I was a master, I wasn't comfortable going after the big realtors. And the moment I started doing that, it changed my whole business. Mm-hmm. So really setting your ego aside, taking the punches, cutting your teeth in the beginning until you are a master, and then going big. Now, in regard to time management, something I've noticed young professionals doing, especially these days, is spending way too much time hopping on a trend. For example, spending 7 hours in their day editing a TikTok and not making any calls that day. That is the fastest way to go bankrupt. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do that, ladies and gentlemen, wake up at 4 a.m. All right. And start editing that TikTok. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then hit the phones right after, and then hit the phones all day and be a master of your email.
Nope. 100%. And it's also becoming a master of communication, because whenever you're going out there and bettering your communication, that's what you're most confident in. And, if you're in a place where you're building out a TikTok and video, and that's great, but remember, we talked about the 5 pillars earlier. That's only one of your pillars. And then until your profile is really taken off, it's important to stay persistent, but that's not going to make you money right now. Yeah. That's not going to build the brand that you want right now. That's going to be going and communicating well, picking up the phones, meeting new people, going to the right events, hosting seminars, hosting lunch and learns. That's how you can bring the right people in your life right now. And then the media is just growing in the background, because people are going to start paying attention to who you are And whenever
Yes.
people see you out there just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and hustling, and if you do that from 23 to 30 years old, they're going to be like, man, this kid's been moving
Yes.
for 7 years, and you're going to have way more respect.
That is so true. That is so, so powerful. Now, in regard to communication, what were some of your favorite books that you've read that really changed your life and had a big impact on you?
I would say one of the biggest ones was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Love that.
It's an incredible book, and there are small steps that you can take today, tomorrow, next week that will ultimately improve your ability to communicate with people and be able to connect with them better. And one of those things, I don't know, I know I struggle with this a lot, and I'm sure maybe some of you out there will follow the same thing, but there was a point I struggled with listening, and that held me back a lot. It didn't give me the ability to communicate like, God has given me that ability to communicate, because I was too worried about what I was saying and not what other people were saying, and I was missing it. And whenever you really change that idea, and I really learned that from that book, things will take off way. It will just give you a better return on investment for your communication. I mean, really, at the end of the day.
That is so powerful. Right before the shutdowns happened, I was in the middle of a 8-week Dale Carnegie course, who is the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Love Dale Carnegie's team.
And that course was a game changer. Now, can you unpack that for the realtors and the real estate investors that are listening? Because I also think that being a good listener is the foundation of being a good negotiator.
Yeah. At the end of the day, as a realtor, and, I'm not in that space, but, I'm in similar space whenever it comes to working with clients and working with families. At the end of the day, a lot of people and what they've experienced from realtors, financial advisors, people in the investment space is people just trying to sell them something.
Yeah.
People just trying to give them product. People, just trying to throw houses in their face. Hey, check out this one, check out this one, check out this one, check out this one. They have an email list. They're just blowing up their email and not actually just sitting down and saying, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? What do you want your kids to have? Are you going to pay for your daughter's college? Are you going to pay for your granddaughter's college? What do all of these things look like? And you're going to build so much more trust with the families and the people that you're serving. And it's the same thing in the realtor space. If that person truly feels like, man, this person cares about my needs, they want me to get my dream home.
Yeah.
And they are doing and bringing the extra steps needed. That's how you're going to blow up your referral. That is how you're going to get way more referrals and start making way more money, is as people learn that you care about them genuinely, and that you genuinely want them to get the best deal in their home, save money, give them the lifestyle that they want. There is no reason they shouldn't refer you. How can I build a sales career in the fact that I have to be referable? I mean, how can I just be the most referable guy out there? I live in that lens, and man, you just really build that inspiration and purpose for truly caring for people well. It's been amazing.
That is so powerful. And I think especially for young professionals out there, don't only be transactional with your clients. At least what helped me is also being relational, knowing their birthday, right? Being able to get them the right gift, knowing their favorite restaurant and their hobbies. That was really huge for me, because when you can deepen the relationship, and you can deepen the relationship in many ways, you can deepen it by getting them amazing results, but you can also deepen it by just caring about them and making sure that they understand that genuinely.
Nope, 100%. And, I was just talking about something similar to this idea with one of my best friends. He's a corporate merger and personal injury attorney. We were just talking about the idea of building relationships with other professionals that could potentially be a referral source for you. And, at the end of the day, if it makes perfect sense for someone and you to refer business to each other, but you're not truly friends, and that person doesn't know that you truly care about them, and that you guys are genuinely people that trust each other's, ethical decision-making and the business that you provide, I mean, the referrals just aren't going to come. It's important to truly build relationships and go the extra mile for everybody in your circle. But it's also important to make sure people aren't taking advantage of you, and you're working with people that are worth your time.
100%. How did you build trust, especially with wealthy individuals?
It's not easy, and it's really leveraging just, the brand that Wall Private Wealth and US Private Wealth has, the credibility that Michael has, how he's been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years now. He's been doing it for 20 plus years. I have nothing to prove. I only have great information to share. And whenever I take the pressure off of myself for going out there and having to, sell myself and this is what I do and blah, 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 I go out there with the mindset of I'm sharing information, just like a realtor out there would be. I'm just sharing that the value that my company has provided to so many families for hundreds of years or 50 years or 20 years, whatever it may be. And this is why we found success. This is why we've helped wealthy families. This is why we've helped CEOs of publicly traded companies, because we come beside them, we genuinely care about them, we speak their language, and we help them do what they do best. We help them become the most profitable in what they're doing, and we help them live the life that they want by allowing them to have freedom through, the appropriate investment structure, but we're not out there selling product. We're building plans and genuinely listening to what they want.
That is so powerful. I think another mistake that young professionals make is thinking that they have to be the business owner and that's the only way to go to build extreme amounts of wealth and to scale a company. All the CEOs of Goldman Sachs, right? The most recent one before the guy who's in right now, who's also a DJ in his pastime. Shout out to that guy. That's incredible. I don't know how he does that. But the previous CEO of Goldman Sachs was worth over $1 billion, right? Just like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan. I mean, same thing there. You can be a very wealthy individual and not necessarily own the company, right? You can work for the company and scale the company to massive, massive proportions.
No, exactly. And I think a lot of people take this for granted. Everyone wants to go be the number one guy, taking all the risks, being the CEO, going out there, pushing your grounds. Hey, look at me. I'm the CEO of this company. There are plenty of CEOs out there that you may think are killing it and they're struggling, or there's a lot of pressure there, or maybe, they're not as happy as you actually think they are. Yeah. It is okay to be a number 2 guy. It is okay to be a number 3 guy. If you, don't want to train people, if you don't want to, be paying the bills, have to worry about that, making sure that the doors are open, for the entire firm, it's okay to be the number 2 guy who's just going out there and selling. The person who's just going out there and headhunting for, new families to serve, or, going out and providing service to the families that you're already working with, or, the clients that you're already selling homes to. Yeah. It's okay to just focus on that and be the number 2 guy, because that is what you're best at. And I think for young professionals, the reason why they don't succeed as fast as they should is because they focus on the wrong thing and they don't focus on what they're best at.
100%. 100%. And you can be the number 2 guy, and that sets you up for success for being the number 1 guy for an even longer period of time and quicker than if you were to just go out and do it on your own. Now, people can go out and do it on their own, but Ryan Serhant says that if you want to be the dominator in your space, if you want to be number 1, go work for the person that's number 1 right now for 3 years, even if you have to do it for free, and see what happens. You will dominate after that, because you're going to get access to information there's literally no other way you would have ever been able to access.
Exactly. Get to the place where you are just the most teachable person out there. In the beginning, whenever I started, I wasn't that teachable. I'm like, you know what? I graduated. I was mentored by some great people. I had some success in my internship. You know what? I'm going to come here. After I brought on a few clients, I was like, man, this isn't as hard as I thought. And then you have some failures, and then you have this, and then you have your ego moments. And everybody has that, especially in sales and a commission role. But at the end of the day, if you are the most teachable guy at your firm, in your industry, in your, whatever it is, if you are the most teachable guy, you are going to grow so much faster, and you're going to make so much more money. And I think 100%. That's what you want.
That's exactly what you want. And it's the same way in professional sports. Name me one big professional athlete that doesn't have multiple coaches.
There's none out there.
They got diet coaches. Yep. They got physical therapists. They got their main coach for their team. All right. They have their specialist as well. They have their strength trainer. Right? You have to go out there and seek other people. You have to be willing to disciple other people. And that's so powerful. And especially in the beginning of your career, because it's kind of like a brain. In the first few years, a baby's brain develops the fastest, and you can learn any language the fastest that way and not have an accent later on. That kind of sounds a little off, right? Because the brain's developing. And in business, the quicker you're able to put your ego aside and learn from the dominators and the masters the quicker you're going to set yourself up for success long term.
Exactly. And the more time the less time you're going to have to spend reorganizing your brain and removing the bad habits that you created to get some short-term success, and to be actually, in the place where if you have really good mentors and you have people in your life that have built something successful, you're able to build it from the long-term in. You're not out there just figuring it out along the way. I mean, you're going to cut 5, 10, 15 years of stuff that your boss and their mentor had to figure out of the picture. Exactly. And then you can just supersede everything that they're doing. And you can do that as a number 2 guy, and you can make way more money.
And that's the real degree. That's the real Ivy League degree, when you actually learn from the people that are masters in business currently. Because let's not fool ourselves. You can have an MBA from Harvard, and the only thing you're going to get out of that's actually going to help you in the real world is the connections and the relationships. Other than that, anybody can go on Amazon now and buy the same book that you're going to learn. I can literally buy the Harvard MBA study book literally on Amazon or on Alibaba or AliExpress. It is so easy to have access to information these days, but what's going to set you apart? You discipling the dominators. You can't find that anywhere in school.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. Regardless of where you're going to school or what educations you have, you may have been kicked in the teeth in there, but it's probably not as hard as getting rejected out in the real world and getting kicked in the teeth and punched in the gut and getting bruises and, having struggles, having bad days, having bad nights, having moments where you're like, how am I going to provide? How am I going to make money? These are the things that really help you build character and build a great foundation for long-term success. Because a lot of people and a lot of young professionals find some short-term success, but they get the wrong idea in their mind of what actually helped them get there. They think it was them. And, if you're working at a big company and you bring on a couple big cases, if you're a personal injury attorney, you win a couple big cases that just came your way. If you're not building the idea of making a long-term success and building the foundation on that is going to expire. The money's going to go away. Everything's going to go through. But if you really focus in on, even if, in your first year, you made a ton of money. In the second year, you make a little less money, but you're focusing on taking in the right language, not working with people that are going to waste your time, walking through quick commissions that will waste your time, and really focusing on the practice that you want to build and working with the people that you want to work with and finding those people and being in those circles and working to get into those circles, you're going to be so much more successful, so much faster. And the money's not even going to matter at that point.
That is so powerful. And I think why sometimes people don't put themselves in that situation is because they haven't gotten over their own insecurities yet. And we'll segue into insecurities in a moment. But to your point, who do you think is going to survive? I'll tell you who's going to survive, right? Let's say you have someone who's doing research all day long about being a gladiator, right? Then you have another guy who's completely illiterate. He hasn't read a single book. He doesn't even know how to read, but he's out there training with the gladiators. He's out there fighting. He's out there in the arena. All right. He's the guy that's going to end up surviving. Meanwhile, the guy that spent years in college researching gladiators, he's going to step foot in the arena and get his freaking neck cut off. Mm-hmm. And that is why young professionals fail.
Exactly. And I think all you realtors out there will appreciate this. Everybody's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. And that friend or the people in your life, they're like, oh, I want to get into real estate investing. I've read 30 books, 40 books, I'm just getting ready. I'm getting ready. I have to just read a few more books and then I'll be able to find my first property. And then there's the person who out there and they actually take the step of buying their first property without reading 30 books. Yep. And then they just start growing so much faster because there's not a better way to learn than just going out and doing it, baby.
That is the biggest golden nugget I've heard all week. Because guess what? If you go out there and you try to buy a property, you end up learning, oh, wow, to qualify for a property, I have to make money. I have to have a debt to income ratio. Okay, how do I buy a bunch of properties? Well, I have to make a lot of money. I have to bring in a lot of income. All right. And that's why all the big real estate investors out there, they had an income stream from their business. All right. They took their proceeds, they saved it, and then they threw down on big properties. They repeated that action, did 1031 exchanges, and they just got in the game.
Exactly. You need to take the step. Like I said earlier, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And, at the end of the day, if you never take that first step, just like, if you're a baby and you're crawling around, if you never take that first step, you're never going to learn how to walk. You're never going to learn how to run. And it's the same thing with everything in your life, especially business wise.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Now, to conclude, let's segue into insecurities. Because I remember in the very beginning, I remember the biggest insecurity I had to get over the first 6 months, especially that's when I was really struggling financially the most. And that's when your brain is going to try playing tricks on you and you're going to have dark thoughts and everything like that. I was literally telling myself, oh my goodness, like how can I give people mortgage advice? And, how can I help people not just buy their primary residence, but investment properties when I'm just a renter?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I had to realize, no, wait. I'm the professional. I know guidelines like the back of my hand. All right. The clients don't necessarily know the guidelines like the back of their hand. All right. And at the end of the day, whatever the insecurity is, you just have to write it down, acknowledge it, right? It's not just going to magically go away. Acknowledge the insecurity and then get over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's important to really, truly build a healthy self-image. Nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission.
Yeah.
That's important. Nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission. You have to be so intentional about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, because as a young professional, you're just constantly going to feel that. You're constantly going to be breaking into new territory. You're constantly going to be working with people with more and more and more money. I mean, you're just constantly going to be uncomfortable. So get used to it.
Yeah.
But you have to be so intentional about breaking into new territory in your mind. Because, if something uncomfortable happens to you, your brain is immediately going to go back to what you were doing. If you are in a place where, you're a realtor and you're trying to find new families that sell property and you're thinking about hosting an event, you're like, well, I've never hosted an event before. I think I'm just going to go back to posting up some flyers. If you're not so intentional about getting it done, having accountability partners, bringing people into your life that are supporting you, bringing you up like, bro, you got this.
Yeah.
You're going to host this event. You're going to kill it. You got to be so intentional about getting it done. So then that becomes your subconscious.
Yes.
Not just going back to just putting up flyers. You got to be so intentional.
So true. And you have to be selective with people that you spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so true. It's kind of like you have 1,000 minutes in the day and every minute wasted is like wasting a fresh, crisp dollar. And no one's going to just burn $1. Nobody. Okay.
Exactly.
So don't do that with your time, and don't do that with the people that are around you as well, that are trying to burn your time and your energy.
Exactly. And if you're out there and you're like, man, I probably spend 3 or 4 hours a day on social media and I really just can't cut it. Think about this. If I can reduce that by 1 hour tomorrow and every day after that, and I can gain an extra 7 hours a week, that's almost a full work day that you gained to go out there and proactively continue to build your real estate practice or whatever you're doing in your sales career. So my just encouragement to anybody out there struggling with time management, or, I'm struggling with social media addiction or anything, a lot of things that people and young professionals are struggling with. I struggle with it. I know everybody else probably out there does too. And, if you can reduce that by just a couple minutes or a few hours every single day, you're going to have some bad days. But if you really, truly try to focus in and dial on that, you're going to save yourself so much more time, and you're going to spend so many more hours doing what you should be doing, and really putting the intention in your mind to growing better with that. And then also, growing the business or whatever career field that you're in.
That is so true, brother. That is so true. Last thing I really want to share with the listeners is to overcome being a young professional, you have to be old school. That is something that helped me so much. All right. Having the firm handshake, looking people in the eye, always making sure your shirt is tucked in. Wearing nice clothes. And in the beginning, all my clothes were from Goodwill. And I literally was made fun of by my coworkers. They were like, what kind of linen is that? I'm like, dude, you sound like such a fruitcake right now. What kind of linen is that? Wanted to freaking fight them, but I knew I'd get kicked out. So I couldn't do that. I had to hold it in, but I used that as fuel. And, now everything I buy is from Men's Warehouse or even nicer. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your image. And you genuinely do have to be old school. And what I mean by that is write thank you cards. Stand out. When someone gets a handwritten thank you card from you, they're going to flip out. They're going to be like, wow, you know what? He really thinks of me. And in that thank you card, include something genuine that the other person said to you, right? Be old school. And that's how you're going to excel as a young professional.
Yeah. If you're in it, get in it. And if you're not in it, get out. There's so many ways that you can stick out different, really show differently. And one of the things about Chris, great posture, great handshake, firm smile. I mean, the dude is legit. And whenever you're around him, you're like, man, this is a really good vibe. This is someone that, has probably been doing this for a long time. Trustworthy guy, very professional. I mean, people in the first 20 seconds already have an opinion of you. So you want to make sure, especially in the, professional world, that, you do it right. You only get one chance at a first impression. And that is so, so, so important.
Man, well, I really appreciate you saying that. And also, let's leave the listeners with this. Come from a place of contribution. When you meet somebody, for example, what I do now is I'll always have a business card in my hand every time I meet a client for the first time. Give them something, give them a bottle of water, even the small things. Be known as someone coming from a place of contribution. In the first year of my business, what I did is anytime I met with a realtor or even stopped by an office, I never came in unless I had even a cookie or a cupcake, something from maybe cost $1 from Publix. Be known as the guy that never comes in empty-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's so important. And you realize that those people are always the ones that stick out in your mind. Yeah. How can I show them that I'm different from everyone else? How can I, even if it doesn't work out in that moment, make them remember me a year from now whenever my services pop up and they're like, man, actually we need that now. Remember that guy who brought in the cupcake? I mean, these things are really different. And it helps you build a great brand, regardless of what you're doing or the net worth of people that you work with or the clientele. There are certain things in that space that you could learn about and learn what other people are doing to make them successful. And there's just always a way to up your customer service. There's always a way to up your personality. There's always a way to up just the relationships that you have. And if you really get intentional about that, you're really going to start surrounding yourself with some great people who just continue to lift and lift and lift and lift you up. And then you're on your rocket ship, baby.
1000%. And that really sets people up for success in industries that have long sales cycles. Like, for example, for me, I might get someone pre-approved and they might not find a home right away. They might go under contract right away. They might bring me a contract right away, but they might take 3 years. And for example, in insurance, or maybe even as a financial advisor or an investment advisor, your client, your whale that you want to go after, that you want to land, they might already have a relationship with someone that they've had for 10, 20 years, right? But if you come from a place of contribution and you come at them not empty-handed and you really stand out and they really feel that you're genuine, when their current relationship messes up, they're going to remember you. And that's going to make you so much money in dividends for years to come.
Exactly. And it's important. Our CEO, Michael, always says this: business is business and friends are friends. And it's important to make the right distinction between those. And you're going to grow so much faster.
I love that, brother. Well, listen, we have talked about so many things today. We've talked about investment advice. We've talked about using mentors. We've talked about being focused. We've talked about what happens when you have a lack of reality. Wealth accumulation, tax advice for high income earners, for realtors, reasons why young professionals fail. And really, I believe we talked about how to grow a genuinely valuable business as a young professional. So Michael Wall is the owner of your company. It's called Wall Private Wealth. You are Steve Snowden. You are not only one of my great friends, but you are truly one of the greatest young professionals out there. I really, really urge people to give you a call.
Yeah, right? I appreciate that, Chris. Again, if you are a high income professional, 500,000, 700,000, million plus a year, there are strategies out there that you can use to keep more money in your pocket. Because I know, today's April 20th, 2 days ago, a lot of us paid a check to the government. And at the end of the day, I know you guys would rather steward your money compared to the government. So, if that is someone that you are and you fall in that lane, would love to have a conversation.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I can't wait to have you back. We should definitely do a deep dive masterclass on tax advice. That would be absolutely killer. I really appreciate you, brother.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man. I had a ton of fun.
Take care.